Welcome back, guys, to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, this morning was quite an adventure. A lot of panic. It was devastating. I even released another emergency video, like some of you guys would like to call it. So, I was trying to calm people down. And there was so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt this morning. Today, we haven't seen a dump since, and I'm going to tell you guys when. We have seen something similar, and we have seen total devastation like this before, and we have seen capitulation, which is what people like to call it. And guess what happened afterwards? Things get better. Things start recovering. Things start coming back up, and that's what we're seeing right now. So let me discuss. There's a whole lot of things to talk about, so thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, smash the like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. 2 streams every day, 11:30 and 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I even created a TikTok video this morning just for you guys. And not only that, I was on Rand's show, Crypto Banter, earlier. So it's going to be like 5 videos from me for those of you guys that can't get enough. All right, let's do this. Welcome, guys. So let's look at Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin looks a whole lot better, coming back up, almost back to 40,000, right? I've always said the dips, like when we have a major correction, a major dip, a major dump, it always seems like the point of no return, the point where you are so devastated and you're about to let go. That is when things turn around. And that's exactly what happened this morning. When Bitcoin was hovering around 37-ish, 36-ish, and people were like, okay, this has to be the bottom. People placed their leverage orders, and guess what? The whale's like, haha, I got you. And they drove things lower and lower and lower and lower and actually hit below 30,000. In fact, it did slightly touch 29.9 for a brief second before things started coming back up. And I saw it. I heard it. People were panicking. Blood was in the streets. Everyone was just like, how the hell could this happen, right? This, of course, is all coordinated. This, of course, has happened before. And this is why I continue to stress. I continue to stress to basically, to HODL, okay? HODL, to take advantage of dips when you can and play the long game. Play the long game. There's too many retail investors that come in, and it's very easy to do. A lot of retail investors come in, and they had it good. For the last 3, 4, 5 months, things have just been going up, 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 up. Even though Bitcoin may have stalled or been suppressed, altcoins were still doing this until they didn't. And this is what we're seeing now because the whales, they planned this perfectly. And with media helping them out, it was very easy to cause something like this. First of all, I just mentioned about that story, that 37,000 and how it dropped more. I had people tell me today that they're in groups, they know people that got completely devastated by what happened today. Not by holding, no, not by holding, by utilizing leverage. And take a look at this. Total devastation right here. Right? Even though Bitcoin had bad days, total devastation, $2 billion worth of leverage liquidated. You would figure that people would learn by now not to utilize leverage, but there's always people that feel like they're smarter than the market. They're smarter than everyone else. They're smarter than everyone else that came before them and told them, hey, we've been wiped out, so you should probably not do it. Well, you know what? For some, they had to learn it themselves, and that's what they learned today. And unfortunately, it's a very, very, very painful thing to live through. I've even heard a grown man cry today through a recording. That's not something that I want to hear. In fact, I was questioning whether or not it was real, but I believe he was because he lost $1.5 million through leverage trading. You know, the whales, I've always said, whales are very good at what they do. They know exactly how to apply pressure. They know exactly how much to utilize to push things down. And not only can you wreck yourself, the cascading effect of this $2 billion compounding on top of all the media FUD, right? Compounding with paper hands that are selling. That leads to devastation. That leads to what we saw today. Okay? So that's what happened. That's what happened. Now, the good news is, look at Bitcoin. We're above 40,000. We're pressing against 41,000 now. We are having a major recovery. In fact, you could argue we're having a V-shaped recovery as I'm streaming. So have we seen this before? Yes, we have seen this before. And it wasn't that long ago. I think a lot of you guys are thinking, oh yeah, you're going to talk about 2017, 2013, right? But no, we have seen this only about a year ago. And you know when this happened? Well, another period of time happened about a year ago in March when COVID fears spread around. COVID fears, stock market is tanking. Guess what? Bitcoin also tanked. And within a matter of days, Bitcoin tanked to a low point of 3,800, a 58% loss. 58% loss. That was a bad day. I've lived through that. Some of you guys lived through that too. That was a worse day because that was when Bitcoin was below 10,000 and it was on its way to recovery. And then boom, devastation, dropped to $3,800. Guess what happened? Same thing. A lot of people got liquidated. A lot of people got feared out. A lot of people developed paper hands like, that's it, I'm done, I'm gone. Soon afterwards, we had a terrific V-shaped recovery. This is what always happens. This is what always happens. When you get to a point where you feel like, I just can't take it anymore. I can't. I'm being punished. You know what? That's when usually things turn around. So people that were questioning whether or not they should panic sell, even yesterday in their 30s, even this morning at 37, I had one member in Patreon, he, at 37, he's asking, should you sell? Should I sell? Should I sell? I'm like, you know what? It's too much of a risk to sell. And then it went down lower. And then he started blaming me and everyone else in the community saying, hey, I lost so much because I should have sold. Well, guess what? Had he sold at 37, he would actually be down. He would have to buy back at 41,000. This is what I'm saying. I've lived through this. I don't just make stuff up. I'm giving you guys experience. I've lived through so many of these dips, panic sells, panic drops, right? And they tend to come back sooner than expected. Things don't always turn out as bad as they seem. Although at face value, right away, at the moment it may. But now, being above 41, it's a lot better than being at 30, right? And this is within a matter of just a few hours. My dogs, wait a minute. My dogs are just killing it. I know I'm ruining my thing here. Hold on. There we go. All right, I'm back. But this is what I'm trying to teach you guys, right? That the way to win at crypto is to focus on the long game. What you want to do is focus on life-changing wealth down the road, not trying to time top or bottom, because trust me, every single person that gets in thinks they can. Every single person that thinks that they could study some charts thinks that they know exactly what's going on. Well, let me clue you on something. They really don't. 50% of the time it works, 50% of the time it doesn't work. But you know what works 100% of the time? To simply HODL. That works 100% of the time. Short term, maybe not. Long term, since the exception of Bitcoin, it has always worked. HODLing has worked. Now, we could speculate, okay? We could speculate what happened. And I can tell you exactly what happened. There's a lot of media FUD, a lot of paper hands, China FUD. There's a lot of things that's going on, right? But let me clue you guys in on some of these things. I've kind of talked about it already. I kind of talked about it yesterday already, but I'm going to rehash. I mean, one of the biggest ones is this China FUD, where they're going to ban payments and financial institutions and crypto business. Well, guess what? This already happened. This already happened 4 years ago. Now, the reason why they're doing this is because they're getting ready to deploy their digital yuan, their digital currency. And they want to make sure that their citizens only participate in that digital currency, right? But this does not mean they're doing a total ban on Bitcoin or Ethereum or VeChain or Neo or any other projects out there. They just want to tighten control. That's all they're trying to do. They want to tighten control. Now, of course, this came out at the worst possible time, and I argue that this was done on purpose. I argue that Reuters, I called them routers yesterday. Reuters, you know what? Whoever is in charge or whoever's writing this timed it. I argue that they coordinated with the whales because it was just too well placed that we have Elon FUD out of the blue, then we have this devastating fall. So I don't think this was an accident. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think this is all coordinated. Just like this. Someone sent me this morning. Now JP Morgan is saying, oh, they're trying to cause more FUD. Oh, institutional investors are now dumping, not even selling Bitcoin, dumping Bitcoin and going back into gold. That's a strong statement. You know, a day after we have this fall, right? But guess what? You should never trust what JP Morgan says. You know why? Because they're liars and they're manipulators. You don't believe me? What about this? Them being fined $1.3 billion for manipulating precious metals, such as silver, for decades. For decades. If you were doing it, you would be in jail. But if JP Morgan is doing it, they get a slap in the wrist fine. And that's exactly what happened last year. They were finally slapped in the wrist saying, no, you can't be manipulating silver prices. But they're trying to do that with Bitcoin right now. Why do you think this article came out of all days today? Because they want to drive more fear and FUD. This is what they do. This is what the media does. And it makes me wonder if they're all colluding somehow, right? So bottom line is there's a lot of things going on. You have media FUD. You have people that are just believing and buying it. And then also you have this. And I got to bring this up because a lot of people are saying, well, you know, Wyckoff predicted it. But what's the point of Wyckoff? Wyckoff, the whole premise of this is whale manipulation. That the whales, in order to accumulate more, they would cause a certain asset to go up and down, follow patterns, and then sell off. Okay? But the whole point of this is whale manipulation. And I think this was timed perfectly with the media and so forth. And possibly even with Elon. I'm just going to throw that in there because he just kind of timed it perfectly. Now, Bitcoin did not follow this to the T. There was similarities, but it was off a little bit. But also, I brought this up on Rand's show today, is if everyone is believing in something like this, you got to figure this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. That people are scaring themselves into believing that this will be true. Or they're scaring themselves into this becoming true. Because if everyone believes that there's going to be a phase E, which is what we went through, then everyone's expecting it to come. Everyone is holding off, and everyone is just waiting for the dump to happen, right? So this is the thing with these kind of patterns. The two takeaways I have with this Wyckoff is, number one, there is clear manipulation going on, and number two, this kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So this is why I don't rely just on patterns, or I actually put very little on patterns. I mean, that's me. I believe in fundamentals. I look at the bigger picture. I look at what has happened, what transpired for the last week. Did anything really change? No. You had Elon being an a-hole, and then you had a lot of media FUD, and that's pretty much it. Those are only two things, but did anything fundamentally change? No, nothing. Nothing fundamentally changed. And while I've been streaming, look at it. Bitcoin is now climbing, right? So now the whale pressure is off. So everyone is now panic buying, but you could have been panic buying even down here, right? This is why I say you take advantage of the dips. You take advantage of the dips when you can, okay? You sprout your buys. Yes, maybe you buy in and it goes lower, but that's the point of spreading out your buys. Dollar cost average, you buy the dips and you hold them. That's it. Focus on the future, not right now. I know it hurts. I know I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't hurt. When your portfolio is down 6 figures, 7 figures, it hurts, right? But unlike liquidations, it can come up. You don't lose until you sell. Liquidations, on the other hand, if you get liquidated, you do actually lose, and there's no chance of recovery. No chance of recovery. But if you're simply holding, there's always a chance to recover. Now, with all that said, what else is there? You know, today, outside of, you know, obviously crypto, if you go to CNBC, the front page, right? Again, causing more FUD. the crypto collapse. You know, what's going on? And of course, you have Tesla, you have Coinbase, you have MicroStrategy, you have Square, you have PayPal, Great BTC, you have anyone that's involved with Bitcoin, all being hammered today. But this is all orchestrated. This is on purpose. People want to drive that fear. And why are they doing this? Because they want you to sell your Bitcoin. They want you to release your Bitcoin to them. So you don't want to fall for that. You don't want to fall for it. You gotta go back and think, why are they doing this? You know, why do they want Bitcoin to go lower? Well, isn't it obvious? They want it lower so that they could buy in. They could buy in cheaper. It's just that simple, right? But the one person, the one shining star, I'll say two. But the one big one from Wall Street, the one that has been a Bitcoin supporter all along, and the one that may have had a talk with Elon and told him to back off, is Catie Wood of ARK Invest. So ARK Invest, Catie Wood had an interview this morning on Bloomberg, asked if she still thinks Bitcoin will rise up to $500,000. And yes, she does. She believes that it will continue. She also looked at the fundamentals and realized nothing has changed. She also addressed Elon's environmental FUD and claims that, you know what, she believes that Bitcoin would actually lead to more green energy initiatives. And she also believes that what we saw this morning was capitulation, much like what I showed you guys this morning in 2020 when we had that COVID dip. And she believes that when anything is in capitulation, not just Bitcoin, that's time to buy, right? And turned out to be the right move. So Catie Wood is standing out. She is definitely sticking her neck out. She's the only one on Wall Street right now that is actually saying good things, continuing the course right now. And of course, because she took this stance, guess who else had to? I don't have it. I don't have it up, but I did have it up. And guess what? Someone else now has to pretend to be hero again and saying, oh, that Tesla has diamond hands. I would argue that they were the one that started this whole thing, that they orchestrated or led this whole thing. And now he's trying to play Mr. Nice Guy, saying that he has diamond hands, right? I think maybe ARK had a little talk with him and said, hey, if you don't fall in line, we're not going to be your biggest supporter. Because ARK has saved Tesla's ass on many, many, many occasions. In fact, you could argue that the only reason why they went up 800% in 2020 is due to ARK Invest. So maybe they had a chat behind the scenes. Now, of course, someone like Michael Saylor that has been a true holder all along, right? He's reassuring everyone that he has not sold. In fact, you know, the 92,000 Bitcoins that MicroStrategy holds, that doesn't include the other entities that Michael Saylor controls. And of all his entities, he actually has 111,000 Bitcoins. And he has not sold one single Satoshi. This is the sign of a true holder, someone that we really need to look up to, because I know he's taking a lot of slack. All of his recent buys at 57,000, 54,000, 52,000, even the recent one at 43,000, they're all coming in at losses right now. But what he's doing is dollar cost averaging. His overall average is around like 24,000. So he is still making bank. He is not scared, right? And this is what we need to strive for, to have diamond hands or laser eyes and just continue the course and focus on the future, not so much what's happening right now. All right, guys, that's all I wanted to say. Overall, you know what? Bitcoin definitely went through a very, very nasty period this morning, right? We had a lot of fear. We had a lot of doubt. We had total devastation. There's no way to dance around that. In fact, if you look at from the top to bottom versus 2017, it was about 50%. 50%. Now, it was not immediate. It was over the course of the last few days. But if you compare that to what happened in 2020, that was actually a little bit less. That was actually almost 60%. But again, we had a V-shaped recovery because this was capitulation, and you know the rest. And if you argue that it's the same thing over here, you know, back in 2018 when we had capitulation going from 6,000 down to 3,000, right? We hovered a little bit, but then we had that V-shaped recovery and we went higher. So this is one of those moments where it's a very rare moment within Bitcoin's history to have such a large fall. But like I always say, when you have bargains in front of you, you want to take advantage. You want to take advantage. All right, guys, that is it. Let me turn to you guys for some Q&A. Oh, by the way, I don't have official sponsor today, but I kind of do. Since I preach HODL so much, a company that creates HODL instant noodles sent me this. And I actually tried it. It's actually pretty good. So some of you guys are complaining that you don't have money. Maybe you should start eating some instant noodles for a little bit and then build that bank and get back in. But if you are interested in HODL Noodle, their URL is in the description of this video. All right. I promise you, I actually did try one, and it's actually pretty good. All right, let's look at the super chats. Real Elon is a nicer way to say a-hole. Okay, that's why I'm calling it Elon. What else is there? Renento, I appreciate that. Super chat. If you follow Wyckoff charts, coordinator expected to come down 30K. Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned that. But it does show you that it's coordinated along with, but it's not just the charts. It is coordinated on many levels. Music, appreciate it. Still good time to buy BTC. I think I just answered that. BTC is deflationary. How do you grab some? You need to scare people into selling you too. That's my 2 cents. Of course. I made this argument yesterday. Bitcoin is scarce. There's not that many around, right? Actually, if you look at the circulating supply on the exchanges, it's about 2.5 million out of the 19 million that's out there, which means over 16 million is just being held, not being moved. It's just held there, sitting there. So actually, the amount that's moving right now is very little, and that keeps decreasing over time. So yes, the whales, what they could do is they can manipulate while they still can, until they can't. So this coin is an old coin. I've not looked at it for a while. Look, Gideon. Celsius wallet down, can't access USDT. BlockFi. I think BlockFi also had some issues, but you know, here's the thing. I talked to them. This FUD about them paying out in BTC instead of stablecoin is true. But the thing is, that happened on Friday. It didn't happen yesterday or today. But the media is coming out with stories today. So it's, again, contributing to the FUD. Obviously, that's something that's not a good look for them. But I did talk to them, and they said it's very limited supply, very limited clients, and they are handling it. Can you shed some insight, Shinkley asks, can you shed some insight on the use of stop loss in these situations? Well, if you're holding, and see, the stop losses is in my opinion, stop losses is great if you're going to be utilizing leverage or trading. Because sometimes you don't know if something's going to go up or down. If you guess wrong, then you need to get out of your position right away. But traders, they don't hold. They generally make what they want and then get out. Or they hold, they sell at the end of the day, right? So stop loss is more for them. See, for perfect example of stop loss is, had you set a stop loss, let's say at 40,000, okay? Let's say last night, you're like, you know what, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to set a stop loss at 40,000 for Bitcoin. You wake up today, you're gone. Your Bitcoin sold. And now Bitcoin has $42,000. Now you have a hard decision to make. Do you need to buy back at 42,000 or do you wait for it to drop, right? So sometimes stop loss is not optimal. If you're a holder, right? Sometimes stuff like this happens. You set a stop loss. Let's say even if you set a stop loss at 30,000 because you think there's no way it could hit. Well, guess what? It hit this morning. It went to 29.9. It hit. You would sell. And now we're back up to 42,000, right? This is why if you're a true holder, I don't advise using stop loss. But now if you're a trader If you're a day trader, you're a swing trader, you're a leverage trader, then stop loss is your best friend. Buggo, yes. Yes. You got to take advantage when you can. You got to take advantage when you can. Recovery ADA is impressive. Automatic dot. Yes. All these are actually recovering really well, right? Obviously, we're not back up to 50,000 yet, but we're in a much stronger position now than yesterday or the day before, right? You know, this is, you know, I think everyone is trying to rationalize like what happened, what Bitcoin is going to do. They're trying to predict it, right? I mean, I tend to focus on the bigger picture. You look at the fundamentals, nothing has changed. So if the fundamentals didn't change, what changed? Well, it's everything else. You know, the Elon effect, that changed. You know, you got more media FUD, that changed. And we also have some manipulation, and that's changed, right? But those don't negate the fundamentals. Yeah, temporarily they can cause devastations like this. But if you have the right strategy, you have the right mindset, you're fine. You're fine. You go get past this. And this hardens you. And this is how you really develop diamond hands. Everyone claims to have diamond hands and laser eyes when things are going up to the moon. That's not what it's for. That's not what it is at all. These are the times where you find out if you truly have laser eyes or diamond hands. Can you survive a 50% dip without panicking, without panic selling? In fact, did you take advantage of the dip? Did you buy in on a dip? These are the things that measure if you have diamond hands or laser eyes, not while things are skyrocketing, right? That's easy to claim. But if you live through this, then you can live through anything. And there will be more of this. There will be more of this. I said this in this morning's video. There will always be up and downs, up and downs, up and downs, right? And some people ask me, hey, George, if there's so much manipulation, how will things ever get back to normal? Well, keep in mind, the only reason why we know is because there's more tools that actually shed this light. But Bitcoin has always been through this. There's always been big whales, rich people that's been trying to manipulate things. Even banks, even someone like a JP Morgan has done it with silver, right? So it's always been the case. But Bitcoin is strong. Bitcoin is built on the backs of holders and people that truly have diamond hands. And they continue to hold and buy and hold and buy and hold and buy, regardless of what's going on, regardless of FUD, regardless of manipulation. That is why Bitcoin always recovers, always comes back stronger, and continues to go higher and higher and higher. Stanley Chung, appreciate that. XVS, yes, XVS is weird. Yesterday it shot up and dumped, right? Because I looked at the founder. He said something about liquidations I didn't really understand with XVS, but I still do like Venus. I do still like Venus. All right, scrolling down. I think I hit all the questions. Yes. Jasper, I appreciate that. Debbie says, I'm all in, diamond hands, already came back halfway. You don't lose until you sell. That's true. That's true. I think people don't realize that. People look at, I guess, paper losses. But if you don't sell and it comes back, there's no loss at all. You only incur a loss when you actually sell. Not only that, you incur a taxable event. So that's even worse. So it's double bad for you, right? So you don't want to fall for that. Yes, there's going to be up and downs. Yes, it sucks if your portfolio value is coming down. But things always come back. Things always come back. And they tend to come back stronger. So you don't want to let the moment dictate your future, right? I still think VET is a good play. You know why? Because what China does is forever, basically, they always want their citizens to involve themselves or invest in Chinese-based projects. That's why they ban all Western projects for the most part. Like Google and Facebook doesn't exist. Twitter doesn't exist. So I think, you know, that once they open up the digital yuan and get their citizens more open to digital and start investing in companies, you know, companies like that, it's going to blow up because obviously they're from there. So I do think it doesn't change anything for them. I think it's only going to reinforce how strong they will be in the future. I'm working at PwC. All right, well, shed some light. Shed some light on VET. Kevin, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. John, actually, I do. I do drive a Model Y. I'm thinking about getting rid of it. And in fact, I did cancel my Model S Plaid order. And I do have a Cybertruck order I plan on canceling too. So I think I'm done. Chainlink and Filecoin has long-term potential, or ETH ADA will integrate these services. No. I mean, ADA is trying to, but not really. They still have their own oracles. And Filecoin, decentralized storage, I mean, yes and no. I mean, they could utilize IPFS, so it's kind of hard to say. I think there's still going to be a use case for them. I don't know if these big projects will just come out with their own. Probably not. Probably not. Do you think Tesla bought more in this? No, they can't. They can't. Because if it reveals that they bought Bitcoin with this dip, Elon would be kicked out. He would not only get kicked out, he'd get sued, and he might go to jail for it. Because then it's clear that what he did was intentional, that he really did try to bring the market down so that they could buy. It is obvious. I mean, everyone is paying attention to this. So that actually makes it so that Tesla can't buy right now. They have to let this blow over first before buying. No, they can't. Crypto is unregulated, but not Tesla. Buying and selling Bitcoin affects their profit margin. They claimed a profit on Bitcoin. This affects them. This affects their shareholders. It affects their bottom line. So they cannot freely manipulate crypto, especially Bitcoin. If you think that, it's wrong. BNB actually took a big dip. BNB took a big dip, so I do think they're also a good pickup. I mean, honestly, at this point, right? What is a good pickup and what is not a good pickup? Well, it's pretty clear. If you sort CMC and you look at if something is down 20, 30%, it's a good pickup. Especially the projects I've talked about, the ones that have a lot of potential, the ones that have been doing very well. For example, Ethereum and Binance Coin, they both are down significantly, right? Cardano, even Doge, even XRP, even Polkadot. You know, some of these, Uniswap, Litecoin, Chainlink, Polygon. Polygon has been so strong as of late, so they're only down slightly. But, you know, Solana, VeChain, of course. I mean, a lot of these are down significantly. Theta, Aave, you know, these projects I do love. There's a lot of bargains to be had. I know I've been saying that for a while, but it's true. When things are taking a dip, you know, especially like a day like today, although right now, obviously, it's not as good as this morning when it was at 30,000 in terms of Bitcoin, right? There was mass panic, but I think that capitulation phase really drove out all the paper hands. That's why there was so much altcoin dumping. I just, you know, this is also very different because over the last few weeks, I've been talking about how alts are getting stronger, right? Bitcoin dominance is going down despite the fact there's been turmoil. Today is really the first time in a very long time where Bitcoin dominance actually shot up significantly because retail investors truly got scared and truly sold off, right? That is why Bitcoin dominance started rising. That's why you have like Ethereum and Cardano down significantly. When in the past, when we had smaller dips, you would actually see them hold very well against Bitcoin. So today is actually, today is like a day I haven't seen for a long time, possibly in over a year. No, Benny, I hope you're kidding about that. Thoughts on monthly cycle and current recovery possibly being a bull trap? It could be, but I don't think that this cycle is over by any means. I don't think in May of this year that the cycle is over. We have seen many periods in 2017, 2013. We have seen periods where Bitcoin goes through something similar. Maybe not as drastic because right now just a different time, more social media, more money, more FUD. But we have seen many times where things dive and then they come right back up. And this is during a bull run. Nothing goes up linearly, parabolically. A lot of times it'll come down and then make a high, come down, make a new high, right? We haven't seen a very significant one until now. But you know what? Things will get better. Things will get better. Ron, I did already. They're not in financial trouble. It was a mistake. That was it. Simple as that. Yeah, I don't have time for that right now. Everyone yeah, today also sucks too because Coinbase and Voyager and all these apps are down because there's just so much panic. And it was down for the wrong reasons. It was down because most people were trying to panic sell. So in fact, if you look at the bright side, the fact that they were down actually helped probably find the bottom faster. But now in the reverse, it sucks because a lot of people are trying to put their money in to buy and they can't. You know, so that's why I'm saying like a lot of these exchanges, they've been around for a long time, especially like Coinbase. Especially now that they've gone public, they made billions. They really need to beef up their infrastructure, right? Make sure that things like this doesn't happen. But you know, then again, even someone like Robinhood, which has been out and has a lot more users, they periodically go down too. So it's just a hard thing for them. But yeah, they need to solve it. They need to solve it. Mad Dad, there's not always CME gaps do not always need to be filled because I think there's one at like 14,000 or 17,000 that was unfilled too. Sometimes they fill, sometimes they don't. CG Simons, I agree with that. Can a daily candle turn green? Yes, it definitely can. I think the one thing that I was looking at and a lot of people were looking at is this, which is right here. The 200, this red line, it might be a little bit harder to see, but this one right here is the 200 MA on a daily. This is the one that Bitcoin tends to bounce off of. This is the one that Alicio talks about. This is the one that major traders talk about in terms of how Bitcoin will eventually hit it again and bounce off and continue its path within this bull run. And yesterday, it scared a lot of people because Bitcoin did go below. But this is the daily chart. This is not the weekly chart. I mean, not the hour chart or 4-hour chart. And you could see on the daily chart, we are well above it once again, right? But we did hit it. We did hit it. We went below, but now we're holding above. So this is the point that a lot of traders were looking at, and this really freaked out a lot of people. But, you know, I was also showcasing this before, right? In terms of the tops and bottoms from the last 4 months, you look at the number of days it took before they came back, right? And you know what? It just looks like this capitulation right here, this grand finale, as you would say it, from this morning, seems like that reset things. It reset things. So now we can continue our path higher. Unimax, I don't want to look at Unimax. Dave, appreciate it. Say something about VeChain. I already did. You know, when China goes full-blown crypto with their digital yuan, Chinese-based crypto companies will do very well, in my opinion. I think VeChain will. I think VeChain definitely will. Layer 2, I appreciate that. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. You know what? Stay strong, guys. Don't panic. Today happened. Yes, it happened. And if you did not panic sell, then you lived through it. Just like all things in life. Sometimes things are scary. The anticipation of something is actually worse than the event itself. If you lived through it, now you have become stronger. You have maybe another layer of diamonds on your hands, right? How you form diamond hands and laser eyes is being laser focused and being strong and holding and taking advantage when you can. Not when things are going up, when things are coming down. And it's the best time to buy. When you're buying low and you're selling high, then you're doing it right. So if you got knocked down today, get yourself back up and learn from this. Learn from this. If you got liquidated completely, it sucks, but come back. There's plenty of time to make that back. If you incurred a lot of paper losses, but you didn't sell, well, you're doing it right. It will come back, right? Get yourself off the floor, get back in the game, get your mindset straight. Realize why you're in it in the first place, to achieve life-changing wealth, to achieve your financial goals and success, right? Continue on that path. Don't give up just because we had one bad day. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. Tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right?